There we go.
It's good.
Okay.
We're good, Chairman.
Okay, and we're on the record. If you please join me, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have a seat and welcome to our September 1 meeting. The deliberative process in the protest involving Ken Lovis' candidacy for mayor of the city of Marietta. I guess at this point I'll ask for a volunteer to go first.
I can go first. Based on the evidence presented and my own discernment and judgment in reviewing everything, I do not believe Ms. Lovis was a resident at the time she filed her petition to run for mayor of the city of Marietta.
Okay. Anyone want to speak next?
I guess I can. When I was given the honor of an appointment to this Board of Elections, I knew that we'd be called upon to make tough choices at times. Not all the decisions we would make would be popular, but that wasn't, of course, the role. Instead, our role was to ensure and apply the law and do everything we can to ensure that the election process is fair to all. This protest and the hearing process has reaffirmed for me the importance of the work that we do. Sadly, not all of the participants acted and approached the process accordingly. It was disheartening to me that a mayoral candidate would conduct herself in such a disrespectful manner towards the board and the participants during the hearing process. It distracted from the seriousness of the matter under consideration and the points she attempted to make. It made it difficult for me to pay attention to what she was trying to say because of the disrespect and contempt that she displayed. The statute and case law provides that a protest on the issue of residency can only prevail if the protester provides evidence sufficient to prove by clear and convincing evidence that the candidate does not live where she professes to live. Clear and convincing is the standard that requires proof offered in a case to be highly likely or certain, more than a preponderance of the evidence, but less than beyond a reasonable doubt. Much of the testimony presented did not seem credible or was of little value. I do not know for certain where the truth lies. In fact, I suspect that it may very well be that she does not reside there, or at least doesn't reside there full time. However, what I believe is important. Without more evidence, the protester failed to provide sufficient evidence to meet that standard, and therefore I vote to deny the protest.
Thank you.
I'm not going to go much further than what the other two have said. I feel the same way that the protester has not provided enough information for us to say that Ms. Lovis does not live. So I say she does live and she should be on the ballot.
Well, yes, it sounds to me. I'm very familiar with the concept of clear and convincing evidence. Because frankly, I've practiced law now for 50 years, and it often comes up, oddly enough, in criminal cases, in particular OVIs, where it's used consistently with regard to whether or not certain evidence will get admitted involving people who are charged with driving while under the influence. And Mrs. Bozian has correctly stated what the statute says. I'll be honest, I guess I share somewhat being disheartened by the fact that certain individuals thought that intimidation would be the appropriate behavior, or that there was very little regard for the fact that your fellow citizens have volunteered to serve on a board of election and conduct elections. And I've been doing this since 2007. Mr. Wentz is our senior member. He began in 2006. And we have had other, as I mentioned, residency cases. They did not involve candidates. They involved voters. But the same process is heard. It's the same law as it applies to a candidate or a voter, because ultimately the issue for a candidate, are you an elector, are you a voter, and where do you reside? And I would agree with Mr. Wentz and with Mrs. Bozian that the protester has not met that burden of clear and convincing evidence, which is a very stiff burden. And so therefore I vote to deny the protest. So counting, we have a 3-to-1 vote. So the protest is denied, and Mrs. Labus, we would expect that you will be on the ballot, absent something else going on here. And I think that's the only other thing that we have in the way of business. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Oh, well, we have our next meeting. I should we're doing that as part of now the record. I think we can stop as far as the hearing goes. Our next meeting is September 13, 2023 at 8:30 in the morning. And that's just our regular meeting where we'll be conducting our business as we anticipate the coming of the general election. Is there anything else from any of the board members that I want to put a record or not? Very good. Then I'll take a motion to stand in recess.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
I'd like to thank the board for your consideration, and I fully understand the burden of proof is high, so I appreciate and respect your decision.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
We're living next to each other, you know, a couple months away.
I was afraid I was gonna get Jerry.
Thank you. I know it was short notice. I texted Pam last night and I was like, so
I was just concerned we might have someone who, we advised people there was gonna be no discussion at our last meeting. The only talking was gonna be up here, and that hasn't always sunk in,
yeah.
so thanks.
Do you need anything from us? Okay, we're Josh. Thank you.
I'm here for like 5 hours. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Here for like 4 hours.
Because she was.
Well, I think.
So thankfully, I was like, she was here this yes, it's.
Yeah, I won't prepare anything unless you get it. Obviously, I hear from you or like take turns like Swan's wants it. I don't see her one, just to make sure.